Okay, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Dynamite. Okay. And I don't think I need this on the side here, so let me try to get rid of it. Okay, so this is a photograph actually from last year's retreat. Just a little bit of history of how this started. Back in like 2009, 2010, Kelly Beatty was approached. If you don't know Kelly Beatty, he's a senior editor at Sky and Telescope magazine. He was approached by some folks through a mutual friend. These folks owned a family camp up in Washington, Maine, and said, you know, every week of our 8 weeks of summer camp, we have a theme. We've got Strawberry Week, we've got whatever different weeks, and they wanted to do an astronomy week. Would Kelly come up and do a couple of activities? And he did, and he liked it, and they asked him to come back. And the next year, he asked me to help him out. Kelly and I we're neighbors. We've known each other for quite a while. So we did these activities at family camp. We made rockets using Estes engines with the kids. We made a telescope in 2016. Again, I brought a mirror and a whole telescope kit, and we made a 6-inch telescope. Everybody at camp got to sign it, and it still works pretty well. We've made planispheres. We've done scale solar systems. We've worked with little kids to help them imagine what a planet is like and what they look like. So it's really cool stuff. But then we were approached by a family, the adults in a family, that says, you know, we've got some pretty serious telescope equipment, and we'd bring it up here, but we don't want kids, you know, clamoring around it and things. Can you guys, is there any chance that you could put together like a week that's dedicated to people that, you know, could bring their equipment up, and maybe you could bring some speakers up, and we'd have like a star party? So we ran it by the owners of the camp, George and Holly Stone, and they were all for the idea. They brought us up to a section of the camp called a retreat center. It was about a half a mile down the road on the other side, but this was the highest point in the camp, and there was a hill, and there were trees around, and there were cows roaming, and there was a garden where they were growing some of the produce for the camp, and said, we could make this into an observing field. Would it work? And we said, sure. So we started advertising, and in the meantime, the property owners got busy, and they leveled the top of the field, and they moved the fence for the cows. They laid down a big patch of gravel and ran power out there. And we had our first year in 2013, we had 11 participants, and we had some pretty impressive stuff like 9-inch refractors and things like that, that type of people showing up. And it was really, really cool. And the next year we had 21 people, and the next year we had 31 people, and then it went on and on and on until COVID hit. But just before COVID, we got up around 40 people. We're coming back to that level now. This year we've got 41 people signed up. We eventually started having different speakers every year, and about 2017, I think it was 2016 or 2017, we had asked Babak Tafreshi to come up and do a little photography. Now, if you don't know Babak, he's a founder of The World at Night, which is a kind of a one world, one sky thing. He did this while he was a citizen in Tehran, in Iran, and where he grew up. He started taking photographs at 16 years old. He was on the Eclipse cruise that I was on with Kelly Beatty in 2009. Kelly introduced me, and we kind of became good friends. In fact, one of my very, very favorite pictures, which I don't have here, is a picture of me on the bow of the ship, the Costa Classica, with a pair of binoculars looking up at the Milky Way. And it was just awesome. And I took his camera then and took the same photograph of him. We've been good friends. And since then, he's moved to the United States. He does a lot of work for National Geographic, for Smithsonian. He has a lot of private clients, and we go out on photo shoots together for his clients, and worked on a couple of different projects together. So I approached Babak and said, hey, how about if we do something that's more photographic, you know, astrophotography centric? We ran it by the property owners, and we worked out how we could get a second week back to back right around the new moon, usually in August. And we started the Maine Astronomy Retreat and Symposia, which, let's see if I can get that. Oh, okay. So these are the two retreats we have. We've got the Maine Astronomy Retreat and Symposia, which is we call Mars, and that started in 2013. And the Maine Stargazing and Photography Retreat, which Babak and I started in 2020. And they're both at the same camp at the Madomic Retreat Center in Washington, Maine. It's about a three and a quarter hour ride from Boston. It's a fantastic facility. What I'd like to do now is show you a video, and hopefully it'll come through the Zoom okay. But I'd like to show you a video, about a 5-minute long video of the Madomic Retreat Center and some of the things that it offers. And then we'll go into some detail after that. Okay, so here's the video. And can you guys see this still?
Yes.
All right, I'm hoping the video plays well.
Oh.
That's Aurora that you see in the background there. This was shot last summer. Is it coming through okay?
Yes.
Oh, good. I'll narrate a little bit as we go through. This is our hilltop pavilion and the observing field. The left is the pavilion. Oh. So this is the barn. And our observing field. You could see that we have a small crowd. By limiting it to 40 people, 40 to 50 people, this is not cellophane. And you'll see in a minute too, we don't sleep in tents out here either. You might recognize the loons. This is the pond. We are on Washington Pond. The pond is absolutely beautiful at night. So these we've had since 2016. This is our new barn. So this will be the third year that we're using this barn. This is the inside of one of the cabins. On the pond, we've got kayaks and canoes and pontoon boats. There's our observing field. That pavilion is where we can keep our equipment. We serve food all night in there. There's Wi-Fi up there, and there's plenty of power on that observing field. This next part's very interesting. I don't know if you can guess what all those little speckles are at the bottom. They're fireflies. This was a time-lapse video that Babak did last year, I believe. Another time-lapse. That's an old picture. I look better now. We have a beautiful laser projector and a 10-foot wide screen, which allows us to do our presentations in the daytime. This is Babak Tafreshi, for those that don't know him. What he was doing is live photography. This is out on the pier at the lake. And again, this was shot last year. Whoop. Okay, so just to go through, these are some examples of the cabins. These two were constructed a couple of years ago, and they were brand new. The cabins themselves, they're clean and simple. They've got most of them have twin beds in them that can be strapped together, with full bathroom in each cabin, with hot water and a shower. Let's see. We supply all the linens, towels, linens, sheets, everything is supplied for you. All the cabins are red lighted. And it's pretty relaxing. This is our hilltop pavilion, our observing field, a closer look at it. So this was constructed about 4 years ago. It's grayed out, weathered out a little bit now. The solar panels were just installed last year, though. It's a wonderful thing to have when you're observing. We've got our observing field off to the right. We've got the cows out there. You can almost maybe make out the electric fence for the cows that keep them separate from us, but they protect our equipment during the daytime. The pavilion's also nice in that you can keep your eyepieces and things like that inside the pavilion. You can bring your camera gear and things like that inside during the day so that things don't get dewed up. We've never had a security issue at all. Again, we've got a really small crowd there, but there is an area that things can be locked up if necessary. I don't think we've ever had anybody ask for it. The pavilion also has a couple of bathrooms, and this pavilion is between a 1 and probably a 5-minute walk from any of the cabins on the whole entire facility. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful place to be. This is an example. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you can hear the thunder in the background here. This is an example of a beginning nightscape photography session with some of our participants in the Maine Stargazing Photography Retreat. That is over to the right there. That's me. That's Babak Tafreshi, and the rest of these people are guests. And they've got their gear, and it's twilight right now. You can probably see the cows over here in the background if you can see my mouse pointer. Those are our guard cows. And we're just starting the session, so that's kind of what that looks like. These are a couple of happy participants. These folks actually they came the very first year, and they've come back every single year. Larry and Elise Faltz, and they're members of the Westchester Astronomy Club, Westchester, New York. Some of you people might know of them. Larry produces an excellent newsletter every month for the Westchester Astronomy Club. And again, you can see the cows in the background. Whoops, this slide, this is my rig. Some years, this is my new rig, where I'm running a couple of Brandon telescopes, and usually I have a solar scope up on top. And I set this up every year. I don't get a chance to use it a lot because I'm running instruction in photography and teaching people how to use their own gear. But it is set up, and for people that come and don't have their own stuff, we just set it up and I give them the controller and a quick rundown on how to use it. And they can attach their cameras to the rig, or they can do visual observing. This is Eric Baumgartner from New York and his beautiful rig. He doesn't let people use it, but people that come by are welcome. He loves to show off. One of the things we found is that all of our participants are really happy to share their gear. Here's a shot at night. That's the same telescope with Eric's wife, Catherine, and this is one of Babak's photographs. This is my photograph. This is also the background image that you saw, my background image when you were looking at my face earlier. Another Milky Way shot. You can see also we've got a fairly low horizon. The horizon is like just high enough to block off that little bit of haze on the horizon. Yeah, a little bit of a time lapse. Eric again with his wife, Catherine. Picture of me a couple of years ago. There's the solar scope on there. Oh, people that come to the astronomy retreat also get a t-shirt. So that was 1 year. There's Babak giving one of his presentations. It's a little difficult to make out in this, but there's a beautiful Milky Way. This was shot from La Palma in the Canary Islands. We've got a lot of really cool guests. We've had, so you might recognize Rick Feinberg, who used to be editor-in-chief of Sky and Telescope. Now he's communication officer for the American Astronomical Society. This is Dava Sobel. Dava was our speaker in 2019, I believe, or 2020. So when our speakers come, they don't just come and speak and leave. They spend the week with us. They have dinner with us. They observe through our telescopes. They give us advice. It's a really cool thing. This is Kelly Beatty to the left. This is Rick Benzel from MIT on the blue shirt, and then to the right is Babak Tafreshi. You might recognize Joe Rao. He was our speaker 1 year. This is astronaut Don Pettit. This was really special for me because I've always been interested in space. Don Pettit came, he's still an active NASA astronaut. He came and spent a week with us. And literally like this, you want to talk to an astronaut, you sit down and say, hey, can we chat for a little while? And that's how close it is. I know that he's spoken at NEAF. Some of you may have seen him at NEAF, but to get one-on-one with somebody like this, it's very rare to get it, but this is why we call this a star party like no other. Oh, this is my good friend Rod Molise. We're the cool dudes. In fact, I'm wearing the same T-shirt right now. And Sarah Seeger. So Sarah Seeger was our guest 2 years ago. You might recognize Sarah. She's very, very active in the exoplanet, and she had just come out with this new book, The Smallest Lights in the Universe, which is a little bit of an autobiography of her life. She's been through some events in her life that helped steer her into being a top astronomer and astrophysicist that she is today. We've got Washington Pond, and we've got sailboats, and we've got pontoon boats, and we've got canoes, and we've got kayaks, and I don't show the paddle boards in here. It's a beautiful lake. The water is warm, it's safe, it's clear, and it's just a wonderful thing. All of our food is prepared on premises. We even pick our own blueberries in season. We can pick blueberries there. This is an example of the plates we have. On Thursday nights, traditionally, we've had lobster and steamers. And I want to mention here that everything that I've shown you so far is included in your tuition. This is one price. There's no extra charge for a meal. You get 3 meals per day. They're all farm to table. If they're not grown on the premises, or if the butter or the milk didn't come from the cows on the premises, then they came from something within 5 or 10 miles from there. It's not, again, it's not cellophane. It's not that type of a star party. This is our typical schedule, and it's pretty full. I'm sorry, did I hear a question? No. Okay, you guys can still hear me though, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. So our retreats start on a Monday, right around, people start arriving around noon. We've got the cabins ready by 3 o'clock. We serve a light lunch on Mondays. We have a reception and beverages, and on Monday night, generally, we have an introductory safety notes, things like water safety and smoking and open fires and things like that. And we usually have an intro, an introductory talk, a half-an-hour talk. This was from last year. This was Babak giving a talk about the world at night. We have a nice dinner, and then we head up to the hill for night photography and observations. And we have a continental or a cold breakfast or a hot breakfast available every day. We have a lunch available every day. And you can see in this particular year, we had Kelly talking about James Webb last year. I was giving a presentation on camera tracking mounts. Babak gave an introduction to DSLR, DSLM photography, and Rich Nugent, who I think is going to be your speaker later on, gave a night sky primer, different objects that we'd be able to view during the week. And then again, 8 o'clock, we're up on the field. So it's the same sort of thing, pretty much rinse and repeat every day. We try to get new speakers, interesting speakers coming in. And unfortunately, it all ends on Sunday, where we need to be out of the cabins by 10 o'clock so they can get them cleaned up and ready for the next group. Yeah, the food is good. Everything is cooked. We've even, for the last few years, we've had a chef from France. I don't know if we can call her a French chef, but the food has been very, very good. So we've got 2 different retreats, and the Maine Stargazing and Photography Retreat is more photography, and we cater to beginners, a lot of beginners in here, both for observing and for photography. This year, and actually for the last couple of years, Rich Nugent comes along as an instructor, and he helps the people with their astronomy, especially the newbies. We have a bunch of telescopes. If people don't bring their own, my rig is set up there. We've got a 14-inch go-to scope available up there. The facility owns. We've got, I think, a 12. We've got, let's see. So our guests, the repeat guests, have been bringing things like 22-inch, 24-inch. Telescopes up there, but the basic difference, to roll down the features, I guess, everybody gets, it's a 7-day, 6-night, all-inclusive vacation. Everybody gets private cabins. There's single or double occupancy, all your bed linens and everything, shower, toilet, that's all included. You get 3 farm-to-table meals every day, including that lobster dinner, and it's optional. I'll mention here, I didn't mention before, that some people don't like lobster. I don't know why, but some people don't like it, or some people have special diets. As long as we know ahead of time, we can accommodate special diets. We just need to know ahead of time to make sure that we can do the right planning and have the right ingredients. There are also, when we're talking about diet, there's 2 refrigerators for our use. One is at the top of the pavilion, and the other one is down in the dining room, and you bring your stuff in there, and if you label it, it's yours for the week. If you don't label it, it's a community whatever. And we find things like, oh, last year there was a $100 bottle of bourbon, and the woman said, Bruce, will you please take care of the leftovers at the end of the week, because I can't take it back on the plane with me. And I did. I did. But I mean, you can bring your beverage of choice, whatever it is, and keep those in there. Everything. There's Wi-Fi down at the bottom in the dining room lodge area. There's Wi-Fi in our barn, which is where we hold most of the talks, and up at the top of the hill where the pavilion is. So you might find people who either can't escape from work or from their social media. They're there during the day when we're not having workshops. You can stay connected to the real world. We've got hiking trails. I mentioned and showed pictures of the pond. And the Maine seacoast is only 30 to 40 minutes away. Rockland, Rockport, Camden, Maine, lighthouses, the Owl Transportation Museum. There's so many things. Bar Harbor and Acadia National Park are a couple of hours north of us. And the other point is that this is a small gathering, as I said. It's we don't have 1,000 people. We've got somewhere between 25 and 45 people. We don't have young children. We kind of discourage people from bringing young children. But if you're, if you want to bring a kid or a grandkid and is maybe 12 and up and really into it, then that's okay. All the general workshops are included for both events. All the featured speakers are included for each week. You get guided sky tours each week, help with your observing equipment, and I give a basic night photography seminar during the Maine Astronomy Retreat during Mars. Babak gives it during the Stargazing Retreat. And then the differences are that this is more of a photography centric for the Maine Stargazing Retreat. And you get one-on-one help. You can bring your cameras up or your camera connected to a telescope, and we will give you one-on-one help getting things going. We have night sky processing workshops, and we go on little field trips. We go out to the lake. We go across on the other side of the lake sometimes, depending on where the skies are or what might be happening in the sky. We've got a couple of different places that we can go to in the evening and do our photography. And then another big difference, and we did this for the first time on the Iceland retreat in March, in that any participant can submit 1 or 2 photographs that they've taken during that week. And Babak will feature those photographs and tag you on his social media accounts. And he's got over 1 million followers. So if you want to get a little recognition, a little bragging rights, that's another thing that adds to it. So do I have any questions? No questions.
Bruce, what is the cost?
Yeah, I was waiting for that one. First of all, if you want direct links to either of these right now, and you can aim your smartphone camera at these two, and open up the link for babaktafreshi.com/Maine or astronomyretreat.com. And the costs are, okay, so going back to this, the Maine Astronomy Retreat Symposia, the second one this year on August 14th, is the all-inclusive price for a double occupancy is $1,630. That includes everything. There are no extra charges for anything, and we give you a T-shirt. The single occupancy price is $2,095. For the Maine Stargazing and Photography Retreat, and this is really a bargain. It's more because Babak you're getting more one-on-one instruction, a lot more one-on-one instruction in photography. Babak usually charges about $500 a day for his other workshops. This one's a bargain. It's $2,350 for a single occupancy, $2,950. I'm sorry, $2,350 for a double occupancy and $2,950 for a single. We have a couple of people that actually come both weeks. So now, are there any questions? I think I stopped sharing my screen.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic place.
Yeah.
Do you guys think this is something that you'd like to attend?
Definitely. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, you know,
Steve Hubbard has one.
Steve Hubbard went, I think, a couple of years ago.
Steve Hubbard's been there a few, yeah, Steve Hubbard's been there a few years. We'd love to have Steve there. Is he in the audience today?
No, he's not available today.
No, okay. The only downside to these, to attending these is that there are only 2 new moons in the summertime. There's one in July and one in August. And in July in Maine, there's a lot of bugs, a lot more bugs. In August, they're pretty much all gone. Most years, this is the same time that Stellafane is held. So, but again, it's a different type of thing. If you don't want to sleep in a tent or commute with a hotel, and if you want to leave your stuff set up all the time, if you want the camaraderie and if you want the more intimate 30 to 25 to 30 people environment with a cabin and a real bed, then this might be the thing for you.
I have a question.
Sure.
Would it be possible to have an event that's exclusively for members of one astronomy club?
You know, we could probably put something together up at this site. We would have to, I would say the answer is yes. There's some conditions. So it takes a certain amount of money to operate this, to get the employees in there, and there's certain operating costs for this. So we'd have to probably have a minimum number of people. I'm not sure what that is. I don't own the facility. The 2 retreats that we run are both set up a little differently. The Mars retreat is actually a retreat that is owned and put on by the Madomic Retreat Center, and they kind of hire Kelly and I to come in and run the show for them. The Maine Stargazing Photography Retreat that Babak and I do, we lease the facility out. So we lease out the facility along with the kitchen and all the other amenities that come with it. If you wanted information to, have one of these events for your club, I can either put you in touch with the people in charge, or we could work with you to try and put something together. It's about, yeah, no, I'm not even sure what the current pricing is. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Bruce, could this be something that was done in like September or October?
Yeah, so it gets really cold in October and September in Maine. And generally they
Good.
are, and their plumbing, no, everything is plumbed. There's water going to all the facilities. In fact, the water it's all spring water. It's all, it's delicious. Drink it right out of the tap. But they need to drain the pipes before they freeze. And the pipes are either in some cases above ground or only slightly below ground. So it can't go too late. It might be a September thing, might be possible. We had one of these retreats in 2021. There was a retreat that ran the 3rd week of August, was the Mars retreat. The 4th week of August, running into September, was the MSPR retreat, which Babak and I run. Then we both got to go home for a day, and then we both went to Iceland and did another retreat for 2 weeks. So it was a little chilly that last part of September. The cabins are not heated, but we have plenty of really nice wool blankets.
How about May or June?
Bugs.
Light bugs.
They would be
Bugs.
You know what? Late May or early June might be a possibility. June, of course, yeah, it could be a possibility. I would have to check with them. They run retreats all summer. They run a fiber arch retreat. They have a music conductors retreat. They have I think it's like a sewing retreat that runs 2 or 3 weeks during the summer. And they run a Feldenkrais retreat, if I pronounce that correctly. It's kind of like yoga. and then the 2 astronomy retreats. So I'm not sure what's left for weeks, but again, it's the owners, they're personal friends of mine, very, very nice people. If you guys were at NEAF and came to our booth, you might have met at least one of them, George or Holly Stone. They're just really, really nice people, and they love the night sky. They've red lighted the whole place. I did mention this year, one of our speakers for both events is going to be Ruskin Hartley from the International Dark Sky Association, which I might be the first to tell you they changed their name, and they're now being known as the Dark Sky International, DSI. So Ruskin is going to be our speaker for both events this year. And our speaker for the Mars, the second week, is going to be Sarah Schechner. Sarah is the curator of the Harvard Museum of Scientific Instruments, and she's a astronomy science historian and has some fantastic stories to tell. Her husband, Ken Lowney, will also be with us, and Ken's going to talk to us. He's been a past president of the Antique Telescope Society. We've got Kelly Beatty coming up. Of course, Babak Tafreshi will be there. I usually give a couple of talks. Rich Nugent will be there for the first week, and Rich is probably like some of you, has been an astronomer, amateur astronomer since he was a kid, and knows how to find all those faintest fuzzies that. So if you want to challenge, Rich is one of the guys to spend some time under the stars with.
Historically, are most of your nights clear?
Ah, good question. I was waiting for somebody. So we generally get 4 nights. 3 to 4 nights, 3.5 to 4 nights. An interesting thing happened the year before last, in that our first week was rained out except for one night, and our second week was clear every night. So we just don't know. We have a lot of activities. All of our speakers have a few extra cards up their sleeve, if you will. We've got a few extra talks. We usually at night, if it's cloudy or inclement weather, we have movies. We can stream video. So we'll show a sci-fi movie, or we usually hold up at dinner time. If we know it's going to be lousy, we usually have a multiple choice kind of thing and have people vote on what movie we might want to show. We can build a campfire and sing around the campfire. There's a lot of other things to keep us busy, but we're hoping to never have a repeat of 5 nights in a row of rain, which in the 13 years now that I've been going up there has only happened 1 year. Any more
other
questions?
question? I guess not, Bruce. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. You know, it worked out really well. I got to get down to a meeting. I haven't been down there in years and years. I have been looking forward to doing this talk since Russ contacted me about it. And this was a lot of fun. It was fun for me to put together and fun for me to give the talk. And my wife made dinner reservations for 8:15, so I'm right on time.
Come visit us at Astro Assembly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bruce, very much.
All right. Thank you again for inviting me, Linda. And I hope to see you guys in person real soon.